Moving on now to fasten spring on to bellows. I'll just explain how I'm doing it, but there must be, you know, 101 different ways that you're able to do it. This is just my method, what I'm doing. So I've got two pieces of thin plastic, the stuff like you get on trims for bathrooms, that sort of stuff. It's only about 1.5 mm thick, and it's very flexible. So I've cut two pieces of that off, this size, and in my case 2 inch by 5/8, 1.5 inch by 7/8, and I'm using a spring. It's a little bit stronger than I would have liked, but it's only one I've got. It's 2 inch long and 3/4 diameter. So how I'm fastening this into the bellows to make sure it doesn't slip and fall out while it's being used. This first strip, the smaller strip, I've drilled 2 holes in each end, and then what I do, I slide it onto bottom coil of the spring like that, and then I'm fastening them into one side. I'm tightening them down like so, one in each side. I'm just choosing a point up near to hinge side, the hinge with hinges, but not right up close, because it'll interfere with the holes for the whistles. It's not critical, this. So I screw that down. Now that keeps that spring secure then. Then my other piece, what I'm doing, turn it over, little bit fiddly this, but I make a mark. I press the spring flat to the board and make a mark where it's resting flat, and then I fasten this piece. I've drilled 2 holes in one end, and it's gonna act like another little spring, if you like, so I can just hook the bottom turn of the spring underneath. So again, I'm using these small screws, 3/8 long, and what I do, I fasten the end one down solid, but the one nearest the middle, I leave it standing proud, just enough so there's enough room to get that coil, that spring coil of the last coil of the spring underneath, like that. So now I can thread that under there, and to stop this spring popping out of this one, just to belt and brace it, I'm just putting another screw up towards the coil of the spring, so it just can't slip out of that bit of plastic. Screwing that down about 2/3 of the way in. So if you look now, I've trapped that spring in, and what I'm going to do now is turn it to bring the spring in, and it like so, and then the last coil of that spring, I'm just going to thread it into that bit of plastic, and pull it down. Now that's got the spring now trapped. Now there must be a number of other ways of fastening that spring. It's up to you what you decide on that, but that's my way. Okay, onto the actual bellows now, fitting the bellow material. I've cut that shape out that I've shown you in one of my previous clips. I'm going to start at the front like that, and I'm going to glue that onto the front there. I'm just going to put a couple of staples in, and then on top of that I've cut some thin lats, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to screw these lats over the, I'm not gluing them, the glue's going to be on the bellow material, onto the some domed head screws, just to belt and brace it, if that's the term. And I'll probably have to put a pilot drill through as I screw it in. So I'll just put this first one on and show you, and then I'm going to work my way around on one edge like so. And then when you get to the when you've done the other edge, so that imagine that edge is on now, I shall put this edge, go around the perimeter with this side, and then when I get to the back here, where I've left that little, I'm going to tuck that over when it's closed, tuck that over, staple and glue that, and then put some more lats on back to cover all my staples up. So I'll put some glue onto this. Got to make sure you go all the way across with this glue, because you want a good seal. I'll position this now. And I'm going to put a couple of staples in. And then I'm going to put this lat on, and I'll do this off camera. I'm going to put a pilot hole in them holes through into the frame, and just put these round-headed screws on. And then I'm going to continue around that, and then we'll take it from there. I just thought I'd show you this. I'm taking a different approach. The last one I did, I followed myself round putting the lats on, but I've decided this time I'm just putting just 2 or 3 staples in to hold it in position like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the top in. So you've just got to manoeuvre this other side into bellows material like that, and then I'm going to put some glue on, staple it, and then do them other edges, put my flaps on the back for the hinge, and then I'll put these on. I think that's a better way of doing it. Okay, I've managed to get all my bellows fitted around the edges. I've put an extra piece of bellows cloth on the hinge to make it like double or triple strength. Flap them little flaps over, got all my wooden lats screwed on, got it all glued, and them lats now are pulling down on that to pull that glue together onto cloth to seal it. It's ready for putting the whistles in. I'll just get rid of this. Just a tip for you there, when you've been using glue, make sure you tap your bottle so it all comes out to spout before you put top on, or it'll clog up. So if I just put a whistle in temporarily, yeah, I can't block them off very well. Anyway, it's working. So I'm going to let that glue set now, and then I'll get me craft knife and just trim around any edges where cloth's coming through. It's onto whistle part next to fit the whistles. Okay, then we'll move on to fitting the whistles now into bellows. Overnight I got my bellows, a coat of paint put on my bellows, and that's had time to dry. So I've just tidied all that wood up with a coat of paint, and I shall just put a bit of wax on these edges as a bit of contrast. Right, so moving on to putting whistles into bellows. I drilled my holes out for my 15mm copper pipe fittings, 21/32 diameter. Just over time I've been working on this, and with atmospheric garage, you may find that when you're drilling in wood it just closes up slightly, and mine did do. So what I've done, I've just gone round with my Dremel. You could use a file just to take them tight spots off, so it enables me to have a nice tight fit with these elbows. And I'm going to glue these elbows in with just some all-purpose adhesive, so you get an airtight seal. I've got my positions marked off where my saddle clamps are going. I did that off camera. And then it's just a matter of fitting your wooden dowel in and gluing it into whistle. So you want a dab of glue on that, a ring of glue around that to go into your elbow. Same with next one down. I'm not putting glue on at the moment, it'll be a bit, I don't want to get it all messed over my paintwork. And then next one goes in with some glue on. Again, fasten your dowel into you. And then I'm going to put these saddle clamps on, the 15mm saddle clamps. So I'm going to screw them saddle clamps in. Then I'm going to glue these ends on. Once I've got the pipes in position, a ring of glue around them, and that's it complete. So that's my smallest one I've made so far, and that'll just fit in the cab of my battery electric loco. It's 5" by 7, and it's 5 inches deep on the bellows. I have made a bigger one. I will just experimenting making smaller ones that you see on internet, and I'm going to make one smaller than this next time, but I'll just show it difference. You get, the smaller you go, the higher the sound. So that's basically it. So I'll just quickly run through. So I'm using copper pipe. You could use 15mm plastic water pipe. The only difference is the bore's a bit smaller than the copper, so you'd have to adjust your dowels to suit. But everything else fits on plastic. All your 15mm fittings, your elbows and your stops, they all fit. So you just have to make your dowels different. And I've made my dowels 0.540 diameter, 7/16 long, and I've put I've ground a 1/8 flat on the top, and that flat sits in the top of your whistle squarely. Then your dowel fits up to your cutout on your whistle, flush with that vertical cutout. And I've done mine 1/2 inch up from one end, so I can get my elbows on without covering hole. And then I've cut that vertical cut halfway down the pipe, or just short of halfway, angle cut between 35 and 42 degrees. And then you just cut your pipes to suit your length. Now if you want to get pedantic about this and have the notes like they probably should be, you want an A sharp, a D, an F and a G, and you can do that if you've just got a tuning device. I'm not bothered about that. I've not bothered tuning them in. I've only done this to put on my loco for grandchildren. Well, that's my excuse anyway. So I'm going to fit that into Cabot Loco, and then they'll just be able to sit on it. I'm going to put a piece of wood on here just as a little handle, so they can press it there. Anyway, I hope you find that interesting, and if you have, subscribe to my channel and tick like if you will, and I'll reciprocate any subscriptions. So I'll catch you on my next video. Bye for now then.